My father frequently made a statement that I didn't understand. When I thought about this expression and caught a glimpse of its meaning, I also had a hard time agreeing with him. The statement was, mediocrity is underappreciated. I would think, why stand up for mediocrity? Shouldn't we all aspire to greatness? But the bigger dilemma was my deep belief that my father was not a mediocre man. Our family grew up in an age of television, 24-hour sports, and comfortable recliners. During this age of casual hanging out and multimedia entertainment, I always thought of my father as belonging to another world. I can honestly tell you that I never saw my father lie on a couch or eat food in any room other than the kitchen or the dining room, or drink a beer or any other beverage while watching television. I never saw him wear shorts or hang out in a bathrobe or his pajamas. If it sounds like he was a snob, he was not. He was a gentleman. In an age of excess and obesity, when many of us are eating too much or dieting and eating too little, I don't think my father's weight ever varied more than 2 or 3 pounds from his high school graduation weight. At every celebration and family get-together, when the rest of us were over-eager and ready for a splurge, my father's final words would be, before we ate, go slow, and we have it too good. During the past 2 decades, many people have stopped reading newspapers and turned their attention to reality TV and other entertainments. My father read the Boston Globe, the entire Globe, every day until his eyes were too poor to read the print. During the past few years, one of my parents' greatest enjoyments was watching CNN, listening to political interviews on Charlie Rose, and viewing documentaries on the History Channel, listening to every major political speech. In an era of reality TV, my father was always well-informed, interested, and passionate about the world around him. He voted in every election. Our family gets together regularly for holidays, birthdays, and other celebrations. On these occasions, we sit around the table with the usual small talk. We discuss the movies, the weather, local sports, and all the familiar topics that keep people talking. My father generally spent most of his time quietly listening, but on some occasions he would interrupt the chatter. I think he felt that this valuable time with everyone together was too important to waste with all the small talk. At one of our recent family gatherings, we were together and half the table was talking about the Red Sox and the other half was talking about the appropriate way to grill shrimp. And my father interrupted. He asked for our attention. He had something he wanted to ask us. What he wanted to know was the difference between love and sex. Some people around the table giggled and shifted uncomfortably, but we had a great multi-generational discussion on the topic of love and sex, and I noticed afterward that our thought-provoking family discussion continued with some of the younger generation on Facebook. We all know how important antique silver was to my father. There was nothing mediocre about his devotion to the study of antique silver, its history, its hallmarks, and collecting. He pursued this field with an unwavering, unrelenting passion that provided interest and excitement during his last 20 years. On a personal basis, my father made several close friends in high school and maintained those friendships throughout his life. The Cirquers, the O'Hallorans, the Callahans, the McHughes, these friendships were lifelong. The Tuesday morning breakfast club was one of the highlights of my parents' week. We're all aware of the statistics of the high number of divorces, or the high number of marriages that end in divorce, and the resulting breakup and difficulties that families have. Here too, my parents diverged from the average. They were married for 54 years. 54. It was not always perfect, and the challenges were many, but one of my last memories of my father was his remarks to my mother. I overheard them talking when he was homebound with cancer. "You're doing so much for me," he said. "I'm never going to be able to repay you." In the memory I have of my mother, a few days later, on the day my father died, was of her stroking his head and reading him his prayers. These are memories I have of a very rare and special relationship. So my father was a gentleman and a man of moderation. He was interested in the world around him, and he had a passion for collecting that kept him active through a very long retirement. He had lifelong friendships and a 54-year marriage. When we were discussing my father's statement of mediocrity is unappreciated a couple of days ago, my daughter Kate said that she thought my father truly embodied what is great about mediocrity. I think he meant that most of us will never win a Nobel Prize or walk down the red carpet or compete in the Olympics, but that doesn't mean our accomplishments are not worthy or that we are any less deserving of appreciation. The ordinary accomplishments of a life well lived are truly extraordinary, and this is what my father taught me.
Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there, I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glint on snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you wake in morning hush, I am the swift uplifting rush of quiet birds in circling flight. I am the soft starlight at night. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there, I do not sleep.